Breaking news tonight. Crowds at this hour are gathering outside the U.S. Supreme Court following tonight's bombshell announcement.
A draft opinion was leaked, something that scholars say has never happened before. And it indicates a majority of justices are prepared to strike down Roe v. Wade and therefore the right to an abortion.
Written in February by Justice Samuel Alito, this draft opinion leaked to Politico says Roe was wrong and that the right to an abortion should be decided by politicians, not the courts. Now, the High Court's final opinion has not been released. Votes can still change before a final ruling is made, and that's not expected until late June.
So many questions tonight about what this could mean and how this unprecedented leak even happened. Denver 7's Colette Bordelon has been speaking with advocates, lawmakers, and a constitutional law professor. And Colette joins us now with more from the newsroom.
Those I talked with say they could have predicted this decision from the Supreme Court. But what's most shocking is that this first draft, if authentic, was leaked. Who leaked it and why to Politico? That's not clear right now. I spoke with a professor of law from CU Boulder who calls this leak unprecedented. She says first drafts can change a lot when compared to the final version, but that we're in uncharted territory trying to predict how this leak is going to affect the process from here on out. She does say one can fairly assume chances are slim to none that Roe v. Wade will survive this case.
Any interpretation in the past we can argue is wrong, and so we don't have to follow precedent. That's giving this Supreme Court a lot of power.
We knew this was coming, and we knew we had to act, and we got it done, and I'm really proud of that.
Representative Meg Froelich, one of the sponsors of the Reproductive Health Equity Act. That's what she was talking about right there. It was just signed into law in Colorado, and it affirms access to abortion and reproductive health care in the state. It was passed ahead of this anticipated move from the Supreme Court. Representative Froelich says the next step to securing abortion rights in Colorado is trying to get them into the Colorado Constitution. She expects that push to happen in 2024. But as different as every state is with their own laws surrounding abortion, it reinforces the two sides of this issue, which are having very different reactions tonight.
Supreme Court justices now understand early human development so much better than we did in the 70s, and they realize the value of even early human life and the potential that we need to protect.
It's very much every one of our worst fears realized, which is that they are seriously considering and probably going to overturn the 50-year constitutional right to abortion.
After seeing this apparent first draft of the decision, many believe it will mean Colorado will be experiencing more demand from other states when it comes to people seeking abortions. Live in the newsroom, Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
All right, Colette, thank you for your quick work on this big story tonight. Let's go in depth. What is a draft opinion? Well, after hearing oral arguments in a case, a justice, in this case Alito, is assigned to write the majority opinion. After finishing with this draft, he or she will then circulate it to other justices who respond either by joining the opinion, expressing reservations, or indicating they will write a separate opinion. And digging deeper tonight, Politico reports that Clarence Thomas, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett, all Republican-appointed justices, voted with Alito here. The three Democratic-appointed justices, Stephen Breyer, Sonia Sotomayor, and Elena Kagan, are working on dissents. It is unclear from this leaked document how Chief Justice John Roberts will vote. A Supreme Court spokesperson tonight declined to comment on the story to CNN.
And so what could overturning Roe v. Wade mean for Colorado? Well, as we mentioned, just last month, Colorado passed a law affirming the right to an abortion in the state. And clinics then told us they expect a surge in out-of-state patients.
As hard as it is to kind of look to the horizon and see the tsunami, we know that it's coming. The reality is that we are here. We're pushing ourselves to our limits. A lot of providers in the community are really being pushed to their limits.
Again, the U.S. Supreme Court is expected to issue its ruling in June. The numbers are unprecedented.
Isn't that a warning sign for you?
It's not my job to say you're a thief. They're stolen, is it?
Thieves cashing in on the skyrocketing value of metals inside catalytic converters.
I'm told some of these can be worth $2,000, $3,000, $4,000.
Big money, big time paycheck.
Consider these numbers. Last year in Denver, thieves stole more than 2,600 catalytic converters. That's up from 268 in 2020 and 14 in 2019.
And so far this year, the number is at more than 700. So that puts the city on pace to top 2,000 thefts again.
So you might ask, how and where are thieves selling these now valuable car parts?
Well, tonight, a Denver 7 hidden camera investigation takes you inside the world of buying and selling catalytic converters.
Here is Chief Investigative Reporter Tony Kovaleski.
You buy catalytics here?
I was heard that was worth like $400 or $500.
I think you're reading too much stuff online.
With hidden cameras rolling,
You get a lot of them up here?
we did some digging to find out who's buying,
People selling?
Yeah, I mean, a big building, all we do is cats.
what they require from sellers,
Do I have to fill out any paperwork?
Your ID, I get your ID and your license plate number. I put it in our system.
Do I have to give you my ID?
Yes.
and how much cash the catalytic converters produce.
I heard I might be able to get as much as $600 for this.
Yes, you could.
The video provides an exclusive look behind the curtain inside the somewhat clandestine industry of cashing in on catalytic converters.
This is probably worth about $200 alone.
This informed scrapyard employee agreed to talk with us. He's an insider providing an education into the value of used catalytic converters.
It gets real pricey when you're doing your Volkswagens. The Volkswagen, $600.
And that value comes from what's inside the catalytic converters: precious metals, platinum, palladium, and rhodium, all trading at record prices. Visually, these are catalytic converters, but the truth is, this is money.
Big money, big money.
Big money in a small amount of time. Take a close look at this video. It shows what the bad guys already know. With a portable saw and less than 15 seconds, criminals can turn metal into money. According to data provided by the Colorado State Patrol, that sound of a stolen catalytic converter hitting the ground happened more than 9,800 times last year in Colorado.
I could give you up to $20 for this.
During more than a half dozen visits to scrapyards around the metro area, we discovered a wide range of prices.
Why is that worth so little? Because I've been reading they're worth like a lot of money.
The reason for that is, and the reason for us asking for an ID is because there's a big theft problem with those, and so they're not paying that much.
Remember, our experts said this catalytic converter was worth between $400 and $600.
If you can find somebody to pay you that much for it, I encourage you to do that. I will warn you, you might get in trouble.
Our visits to local scrapyards also uncovered some locations with a clear reticence to buy.
I don't buy this from individuals.
You don't buy these?
Because it's stolen.
The law now is changing. Yeah, I mean, we can't buy locally.
But we did find a couple locations still in the business of buying.
Right, so this one you'd be looking at $100.
This location offered to purchase our 3 catalytic converters as long as we provided a valid ID.
This one I could do $220, and this one will be $70.
Okay, and is that the best price you'll give on all of them?
Yeah.
And a week later, we brought 3 other catalytic converters to the same location with the same result.
So this one's $70, this one's $60, and this one's $300.
And how do I get paid?
Cash.
Cash?
Yep.
Do I need anything else?
Just an ID.
Just an ID?
Yep.
Do I have to have an ID?
Yep.
Okay. Any way around that?
No.
By all indications, this location and all the others we visited are following the law in Colorado. Ultimately, that might explain the unprecedented rise in thefts. Currently, in Colorado, all you need is a driver's license.
Hey there,
How you doing?
Tony Kovaleski with Denver 7. Wanted to talk to you about your business.
After this location offered to purchase from us on 2 separate visits and offered the most cash for the converters, we returned to ask questions.
How many cats are you buying a day?
Maybe 500.
From everything we picked up, you're not doing anything to break the law. Is there a part of you that wonders if all these are legit, or maybe some of them are stolen?
Well, yeah, of course. But, I mean, there's no way for us to know.
We brought 60 that were all basically chopped from a car.
Okay.
Isn't that a warning sign for you?
Now, it's not my job to say you're a thief, they're stolen, is it?
And law enforcement sources say that's the heart of this problem. Currently, with no way to identify a catalytic converter, no serial numbers, it's virtually impossible to convict the crooks.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I own the building, I own
You
the
do?
business. Yeah, I do.
Is this your business?
And the building.
Several minutes into the interview, the owner came out to address our questions.
What do you say to those victims out there that are out $2,000, $3,000, or $4,000 because a cat's stolen?
No, it's very unfortunate. We need to change the law. I'm all for it.
You want the law changed?
Yeah, we can change it. Add a VIN check for individuals selling cats. I'm fine with me.
That shop owner says by requiring sellers to provide a vehicle ID number for every sale, it can greatly deter the out-of-control number of thefts in our state. At the state capitol, lawmakers are currently considering two bills to add guardrails to the sale of catalytic converters. A final decision will come before the session ends later this month. And finally, we intend to share what our reporting uncovered with lawmakers. I'm Chief Investigative Reporter Tony Kovaleski.
For the first time, we're hearing from the family of 3 people shot dead inside a Northeast Denver apartment, and all 3 were related: a woman, her grandson, and great-grandson.
Today, the medical examiner identified the victims as 65-year-old Denise Hood, 23-year-old Donnie Allen, and 4-year-old Makai Parham Allen. All 3 died from multiple gunshot wounds.
And today, Denver 7's CB Cotton spoke with a family member in mourning.
Little Donnie, it just doesn't seem real.
Shay is still processing what has happened.
You don't think it could be your family.
Her family, gunned down here in a Northeast Denver apartment last Tuesday evening.
To say it was like living a live nightmare. It was literally watching something that felt like a movie. It didn't feel real. I think we're still all in shock.
On Monday, the Denver medical examiner identified the victims.
So that was Denise Hood, who was the mother, the matriarch of the family. And then you have Donnie Allen Jr., who was her grandson. And then you have Makai Allen Parham, who was her great-grandson.
Shay calls herself a cousin of those killed.
So it's been heartbreaking. I think every day it gets a little bit more heartbreaking because it becomes a little bit more final.
No arrests have been made, and police have given no information about a suspect or possible motive. Shay says she's begging people to come forward.
We had one eyewitness that heard the shots essentially and witnessed that there was a guy and 2 girls. You've taken away 3 generations. And so anyone that knows anything, we need you to say something. Because if you will murder like this, I don't think this is the end, right? And so we're all responsible for making sure that justice is served.
Funeral arrangements have not yet been made, but loved ones have created a GoFundMe to help out with those future expenses. We've got a link to that over on our website, thedenverchannel.com. Anyone with information about what happened at this apartment complex is asked to contact Denver police or Crime Stoppers. You can remain anonymous and you may qualify for a cash reward. In Denver, I'm CB Cotton, Denver 7.
Juneteenth is now a new state holiday. Governor Polis signed the bill into law today, making it official before a celebratory Denver crowd. Juneteenth is also known as Emancipation Day, commemorating June 19, 1865, when slaves in Texas were finally freed, 2 years after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation.
Well, it was a damp and chilly day across the metro area. Skies will gradually clear overnight and warmer temperatures are on the way for tomorrow. Then we have another round of rain arriving. I'll have your forecast still to come.
It's Teacher Appreciation Week, and we're asking kids what they appreciate most about their teachers.
Did she give you too much homework?
No.
You're smiling a little bit.
And the Avs ready for the playoffs and their Game 1 showdown against the Predators.